I bet you could tell some stories. Yeah. Well, from when you was,
Okay, so it's
a
working.
rookie
Okay,
days
we got it
to-
working. Sorry, Carl. Let's
Oh, no
figure
problem.
out a way to make that easier on you here. Okay, so for whatever reason, it's not going to work on the iPad, but it does work off my phone. So Carl doesn't have to sit here and hold it still for the entire time. We'll just do something like that.
Okay.
And then you just keep an eye on it, like if I stand and it's just shoulders down. So sorry for the delay, but you know what? That is a fact of life in this ministry and in this industry. So welcome to New Hope, Spark. You're in the right place. There's a lot of folks that will be watching online and catching it online, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I think maybe the way to begin first is let's just open up with a word of prayer. And we definitely will be done before 9 o'clock today, so we'll get you back on time. But yeah, let's open up with a word of prayer. Most precious Heavenly Father, God, as we gather together, Lord, today, Lord, I just ask that you would guide our time. Lord, that you would help us remember, Lord, that what we do is really about changing people's lives, changing people's souls. Lord, I know there's a lot of tech and there's a lot of buttons, but Father God, we want to be used by you, Lord, to make a difference in people's lives. And Lord, you've made our ministry one to those that people that for whatever reason can't be with us in person, can't be with us in church, whether they're sick or whether they're distant. But Father God, I ask that just the same, you give us a heart for them. Lord, just help us to keep that in the forefront of our minds, Lord, as we meet today and as we talk about all kinds of things, Lord. Help us remember it's about people and about the difference that you can make in people's lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about what's happened since the last time we met. A lot of you folks were with us in the sanctuary when we met in November, and a lot has happened since then. We got all the websites launched, which was really exciting. We got it launched before Christmas, and just so that you guys know, on Christmas week we had 2,700 hits on all the campuses leading up into Christmas, and on Christmas Eve, all the websites together got 600 hits, which means there were 600 people, checking us out, maybe getting directions, maybe finding out, who we are, where we meet, or things like that. So that was gratifying to me because we did a really intense push to try to get those websites out in time, so that they would be ready for people who are inviting their friends for Christmas. And I really wanted to see those numbers afterwards, just to kind of make sure, did it make a difference? Or if we had 7 hits. After that, I was like, okay, well, maybe we didn't have to rush so much, but that's a lot of people,
Big difference.
Yeah, that is. So that was pretty exciting. Then we started tracking with Google Analytics on December 29th was the day I installed that code, and so we have tracking data for the rest of the websites from that day on. Yeah, December 29th. And so you can kind of see how. This is for the newhopecentralwahoo.org site, how many people kind of log on a daily basis. And so it looks like we're averaging about 50 a day. This one, the green is returning visitors and the blue is new visitors. Over time, the green's probably going to overtake the blue, but we're still kind of new to it. But I'm learning how to use Google Analytics, but there is all kinds of stuff that we can learn about the people that come on. This one's really cool. Let me just show you. Behavior flow. It shows you, like, okay, 457 people came into the root of the website, and all these reds are what we call bounces. In other words, they dropped off right after that. They left to go elsewhere. And actually, it was 536 that came in here. 457 came direct. These other people came from different other sources. And you can see where they go. And, the more interactions you get, the more engaged they are with the website, and you can kind of track this deep, to see where people go, where they're from. Like if we do demographics, there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. Like, okay,
They really learn about their.
yeah, like most people came from the U.S., but if we click on that, then we can learn. That's not the place.
Language.
Location. This is the one. Yeah, language. So this is where people are coming from. So 346 from the United States. Russia is the next largest set of people that come. But like if we go United States, we can even see what states they're coming from. You know, obviously mostly from Hawaii, but also California, Texas, Georgia, Virginia. You know, this is kind of cool. So I don't know how all this works. I'm learning it. I'm going through a lynda.com lessons on how to use and utilize Google Analytics. But the point being is that the people are using the websites, and that's really gratifying to know. For our website, Daryl, I wanted to kind of shout out to Daryl Leong. Daryl has faithfully been doing most of the artwork for all the buttons and things that you see when we go. Let's get back to our website. You know, all the banners, headline banners, and buttons, and let's just go faster like this. Like even those little icons that we use on our social media, this Understanding Islam banner, you know, all these things, Daryl has done the lion's share of the work for these things. And so I just wanted to say thanks to him. Hey Ariel, welcome. Good to see you. Just getting started. And just so you know, we are recording live. So there's your disclaimer.
Oh,
Because
okay.
that's for training. So I wanted you to
Sit in the right spot.
yeah, we'll hear you best, I think.
Yeah.
So don't mumble to Carl, what's he talking about? He makes no sense whatsoever. I was just telling everybody that the websites have done really, really well. We got them up before Christmas. A lot of people have been using them, and just wanted you to know that too, because I know you're part of the web team. And then Daryl did a lot of our artwork, and then the photographers have also really stepped up. One of the things we were begging people for was pictures, especially in Mililani and Wahiawa. And so the photography people have kind of stepped up, and they started taking all kinds of pictures, and it's exactly what we needed to do a lot of these other buttons and the other things. And so shout out to Jody and Don at Mililani, and then I think Daryl's also interested in, and he's going to be joining us a little bit later. But in case you ever want to see all the pictures, every website has a Flickr button. And if you go to the Flickr site, you can see all the pictures that everyone's been taking. This is the ones from Mililani. And so that is kind of a little victory that I want to share with you guys. And Darcy and Maddie have been taking pictures too, right? Yeah, so you guys are part of the success for Hollywood. Let's go look at their pictures.
So this is the back office site, right?
Nope, this is the front.
Oh, so
All of this is just like how.
so it's public?
Yeah, these are all public. Yeah, and I'll explain. You'll see that Hollywood, we've been doing this for a while. We have 8,305 photos as of today. So that's a lot. So this is all pictures from our last service. Then I try to take Spark-based photos too. Even Spark has photos. Did you guys know that? Oh, look at that great one on Maddie. So sweet. And giggling away. It was a happy day. Everybody was giggling that day. But yeah, photographers. Just so you guys know, for our own online campus, for our Spark, we even have pictures, not nearly as many. Oh, I just uploaded pictures from our staff retreat here.
Oh.
So this is us on retreat.
Look at that. Where is that? Wailua?
This is Camp Homalani
Is that Wailua?
in Wailua, yeah.
Okay.
Nice
What does it look
place.
like? Oh, is that?
In Haleiwa. I was there super early before things started, and so I had like an hour to kill in Haleiwa, so I started something. And then here's us. Remember those selfie ones that we took at the very first meeting? So even those are up here. So, and then anything sort of like tech related, I try to throw in. So it's always fun. You know, it helps you feel part of the team. So let's talk about the big picture. Where are we going to go in 2016? And there's sort of an illustration that I've been thinking about that I hope will help you kind of understand where we're going with the ministry as a whole. We worked really hard to get the websites up and running, and the websites are basically, in my mind, sort of like building a display case. You know, we got the shelves in, we got the walls in, you know, doors, and the display case is done. And so then the next step is our social media. That's what we're going to be emphasizing next for the next couple months. So we're going to be mobilizing our social media in an organized way. We kind of have pockets of it happening. You know, we have Instagram happening at Haleiwa, we have Instagram happening at Wahiawa. They're kind of on their own as they kind of like want to launch, which is cool. I launch off Twitters every now and then. Sometimes we link Instagram to Twitter, but we're not doing anything that's sort of very intentional. And so one of the things we're gonna do is be launching our social media in a more intentional way to do things like not only to be one way where we promote services coming up and we give announcements and things like that, but we're also gonna have those people interacting with other people's Instagram accounts and Twitter accounts, so that we start developing that relationship and that kind of give and take thing. And in my mind, that's sort of like getting the lighting and the spotlights ready for the display case. And so now that we have a display case that we can showcase things, and we turn on the lights, and now that there's lights shining on it, and that's kind of like how I picture where we're going. And then once the social media is in place, then we're gonna kind of switch over to the video testimonies and baptisms. And what we're doing with that is we're gonna be showcasing, look what God's doing in people's lives. We're gonna be interviewing people and just hearing about how they got healed, how they got set free, how they were once were lost but now we're found, those kinds of things. And in my mind, it's like where we're heading. We're finally putting trophies on the shelves for people to be able to see what God's doing, bringing God glory. And that's where I feel like we're going to, and that's where I think my strengths will be played out the best, is once we kind of hit that video side. But without those other two things, just having videos inside of a YouTube account that nobody checks, it's not as effective. And so with the website in place and the social media up and running, then we start throwing examples of what God's doing in our communities, and I think that gets to be really, really powerful and really, really evangelistic. And I hope to have that really kind of up and running by Easter, so that when people come check us out, hey Alex, you can see it coming up, and have that video all kind of beginning to run by Easter. So one of the places that's going to happen the most is we have a Transformation Academy coming up another semester, and I've been asked to do something Spark related for Transformation Academy. And so starting February 11th, and Alex, you're going to be particularly interested in this, we're going to be doing a 5-week video intensive every week teaching, or what's more of a workshop on how to make video testimonies. And so we're going to get you guys used to the cameras and the gear. We're going to learn how to interview, we're going to work on the lighting, and we're just going to go through all the steps for recording a testimony and try to make as many testimony directors out of that class as we can. And that is going to be really cool. And we'll learn about even editing and stuff like that. But it's going to be the whole top to bottom. And then I think the way we're going to do that is probably have kind of as a workshop, us recording a testimony of one of ourselves each week in those 5 weeks. And so be looking for that. That'll be my Transformation Academy class, again, starting February 11th. And we'll have the gear down here, and we'll work on that a little bit each week. So that's a little bit of the big picture of where we're going. Social media, video, testimonies, and trophies on the shelves. And baptisms is another one like that. Whenever we have a baptism together as a ministry, then that's something that we get to celebrate what God's doing, and that's a natural place for testimonies and stuff too. So we have a baptism coming up in May, and then I think on Labor Day. I think it's I haven't entered the calendar yet. It's May 11th, and then it's like August or something like that. I just put it in my personal calendar, but right now it's videotaping it, so I'll check that later. Okay, so any questions on that so far? Okay, let's talk about what I have here, next steps. Okay, so what I want, what I'm trying to do is to set up sort of a way for us to be integrated, like a standardized way for us to be integrated into the ministry. Dawn, I know one of the things that you've been helping me out with a lot is this, getting everybody's survey into the database and making that available. And that's worked for me a couple times too that I haven't shared with you, where I needed to email the entire photography team. So I'd go to that Google Doc, and I would limit it to only people that were interested in photography, and I would just highlight all the email addresses and drop it into an email, and it worked. And I was like, yes! That made it so much easier. And so now it's really easy for me to email teams and stuff like that. So what we need though is, you guys remember, even from that first meeting, and And perhaps you know the amount of people that signed up. There were a lot of people that signed up for this ministry that were interested. But you can see, here today, there's not that many, and there's a few more on video, but there's a lot of people who haven't really engaged with us yet, but they were interested. And so that's one of the things that I want to encourage us to do, is to go through this process of engaging with the ministry and having something kind of defined. And so, along those lines today, underneath this blue Join the Team button, which you may have hit before, I've kind of changed it. And for those of you watching on the internet, I'd like you guys to go check this out too. You can go to nhcospark.org and click on the blue Join the Team button. And what you're going to see there is a Joining Spark checklist. And it's a little bit of what I wanted to share with you guys, and then have you guys, pick this up, because wherever you are in the process here. So the first one is to watch that New Hope Spark introduction video on the front of the page. So that's this one here. I'm not going to show it now, but it's the one that I showed in church, that just kind of gives you an idea of the heart of our ministry, who we are, what are we trying to do, who are we trying to reach. The next thing on that, if you haven't seen that already, or if you have seen that already rather, is to take the spiritual gift assessment. So this is a general gift assessment. When you click on it, you can get right to it. And what this does is this helps you answer a lot of questions. And some of the questions are like reworded questions of other ones, and just go through it. Trust the system, and it'll help you identify what your core strengths are. There's a lot of these. Here we are. And when you're done, it'll give you a score on these spiritual gifts: administration, missions, discernment, evangelism, exhortations. These are not specific to our ministry. These are what we use in general as a church. And I'd like to know these things about you guys. I want to know how God has gifted you. One of the things that we believe in is that when you become a believer, every single person has been given spiritual gifts. And so a lot of times, unless someone's kind of helped you draw those out, you may not know what your spiritual gifts are. And so this kind of helps you kind of get an idea of what some of your strengths might be in this area. You can see, they're all set to 50%, so all the results are 50%, but as you fill that out, those change. And then Saddleback, Rick Warren, he does this thing called SHAPE, and it's part of his assimilation for his church, Saddleback. It's like, how do you, it'll show you what your spiritual gifts are based on that survey that you just took. Then it asks you questions about, where's your heart at? What things do you love to do? Who do I love to work with the most? Age and type of people. It just kind of asks you some heart questions. And then it asks you some abilities questions. What do you do for a living? What are other jobs that you have experience in, or special talents and skills? And God can also use your abilities and your talents and skills to further His kingdom. And then everybody has a different personality, and this will help me understand you a little bit too. Are you more of an introverted person or more of an extroverted person? Do you like routine? Do you like variety? This will help me kind of put you in a team that fits you best. And then lastly, the E of SHAPE is experience, and maybe a short testimony about how you became a Christian. What are the spiritual experiences that stand out in your life? Perhaps you went on a short-term mission trip somewhere that really impacted you, and you wanted to share about that. And then you put your name and your email address down here, and when you hit submit, then I receive this form, and you receive a copy of it as well when you put your email address there. So you'll have that as a reference, but then I'll also have that, and that'll help me understand who you are and kind of how God has shaped you to be. And that's step 2, in joining the ministry. Now, most of you who have filled out the game that we played on that night, or you filled out the survey that Don helped me with, have already done this part. But if you haven't, it looks like, oh, that's interesting, I've got to fix that. It's this one here, New Hope Spark. This is specific to our ministry. So I ask you more technical questions. I guess what campus you're from is not a technical question, but what kind of computers are you comfortable with? What kind of mobile devices do you have? Whether or not you're a cat or dog, that's an important one. You might be disqualified from the ministry if you're... We jumped in. So these are more specific to our ministry, and this actually came out of a game, which is why there's some silly ones in there too, just to keep it lighthearted. But that is what we feed into that database. And so this is where I'll know your email address and your phone number and your 3 most interested ministries that you wanted to be a part of, and what skills and what software you're used to using already if I need somebody quick. And that's step 3 of the joining process. Okay, so the next one is kind of that's where you've submitted all your information and you've kind of gotten an idea of who we are. And so the next step is tell Pastor Rich you are ready to, 1, make a 1-year commitment to New Hope Spark. 2, complete assigned training. So I may have you learn how to use Trello, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I may assign you other kinds of training based on the ministry that you're in. And so you're expected to actually do the training if you're going to be a part of the ministry. Step 3 is to attend every meeting you're able to attend. And so, part of being part of the ministry is getting to know who you're working with. And then number 4, work at least 2 hours a week. And I'm actually going to change that to 1 to 2 hours a week on NHCO Spark projects on your own schedule. And I'll show you how that would look. But the idea is that I want you folks to be able to be a little bit of a self-starter. There will be a place to go that has all the things that we're looking to have done. And it's almost like a menu. You're like, I feel like working on that. And you drag it over and you own it, and you work on it, and then you drag it over and you say it's done, and then I would get a notification. That's called Trello, and we'll show you that in a little bit. But the idea is that you're gonna check that website on your own. You'll have an hour that's like, hey, I'm gonna do something for the ministry today. And you'll sit down and you'll select for something to do, and you'll do that on your own. So once you've made that commitment, because we're gonna be putting some investment into you. And so that's why we're asking for that commitment. And at that point, we'll put you on a team. You can either join a team on your own, or if you're not sure which team you want to join, we'll help place you in something that'll be right for you. And then, now let's talk about Trello. We'll sign up for and use Trello. So Trello is this cool website system that we have been setting up for the ministry. So this is my view of Trello, which is going to be bigger than your view of Trello, because I see every team that we have. And so you can see here I have this in all NHCO Spark, admin projects, design board, photography team, social media, foundations, I'm going to change that name, video productions, which is almost empty because I'm not doing very much with video productions right now. And then all the websites has their own boards. So let me show you what these look like a little bit. For example, we'll say go into all NHCO Spark. This is typical of every one. They're divided into 4 columns. Each column has a title that kind of expresses what it is. Ideas is just sort of a holding place. If you can add to the ideas board, anybody can add to the ideas board and write things down. And these are things that could be done. Let's see if I have an example of one of the other ones. Have Daryl organize a Photoshop team and teach how to use Trello. Haven't actually executed that yet. Let's see if there's another one here. Is there anything in admin? Oh, okay. So here's a crazy idea. I need a New Hope Spark welcomer who gets new volunteers their name, email, and has them fill out a survey. This is basically kind of what I was trying to set up today. Develop a New Hope Spark ministry reading list. These are ideas. They're not necessarily, we haven't pulled the trigger on anything in the ideas column. Let's go back to here. So to do, once something, and everything oftentimes will begin its life in the ideas. And you see how these little cards just move around? So like if I see an idea and I say, hey, that's a really good idea, once I move it out of ideas and into to do, then that becomes something that we are committed to doing as a ministry. And so this one was about creating an Ask Rich page on Spark webpage and explain to everybody for Spark. And then this one is train everyone on Trello. So I'm going to say that not only are we going to do that, I am now doing that in my project. Okay? Now, and so you can see the third column is doing. So anytime that you've claimed something and you're going to work on it, then you drag it to doing. And that means that you're working on it, you've kind of owned it. And then when you've completed it, then you drag it over to done. And then I get what I do is I subscribe to these boards. And so what I would ask you guys to do is to maybe subscribe to the to-do board for your ministry team. And every time something gets put on to-do, you'll get a notice saying, oh, something's been added to the to-do list, and you'll know to go check it. I subscribe to the doing and done boards. So once you drag it over to doing, no matter what time of day or night it is, or wherever you're at, I get a notification saying, oh, Daryl's working on the buttons for the website, or Maddie's working on, editing a testimony for Easter or something like that. And then once it's done, then I also get a notification, and that's my chance to go and look at it. And so I'm able to kind of look at it, say, that looks fantastic. I usually write something really nice to you, it makes you feel all good and warm and fuzzy, being a part of the ministry. Or I might say, hey, that's really great, can we change the font? Or can we include this kind of information? Or this was so good, can you do this for the other campuses? That kind of thing, and I might send it back to doing. But most of the time, I'm just gonna say, great job, looks good, way to go. And then from here, I archive it. So let's pretend I've just trained everyone on Trello. Oh, let's talk about this before I archive it. Let me back up a little bit. This is how we're gonna organize all the teams. So whenever I have something that I need to have done, I'm gonna throw it into Trello, and I'm expecting the teams to check Trello and to execute them through. Now, what's cool about this is that these cards, they have all kinds of different features. So one of the things I can do is I can make a checklist, which I've done here. Create a Trello board for everyone. Okay, I did that. Create a job. Okay, I did that. Make a checklist and a due date. I did that. Start a screencast. I did that just now. Explain the flow of Trello. Okay, I've just done that. And mark job done and archive. Okay, so now my project is showing that it's 100% done. If I actually back it off one, see how it says 83% done? And so I can kind of spot check how far things are done. The way that I did this a lot of times with, I'm just gonna mark this undone for now. With Daryl, the design board, how many examples have I archived them all away? Okay, here's one. Let's say he was working on this. Okay, Haleiwa wants their connect buttons to be Haleiwa people. Initially, I just had people, and Wahiawa wanted theirs to be Wahiawa people, and then Haleiwa, I got a comment they wanted theirs to be. And so I just make a little checklist of each of the buttons that needs fixed. Funny, as I'm doing this, Daryl's probably getting notifications too. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'll explain it to him because he's on his way. So, so a lot of times, if I need something for Haleiwa and Wahiawa and Mililani, now I might make a checklist out of that. I can also add due dates, and what happens with the due dates is they kind of change colors from being green to yellow when they're getting close to being red when they're getting due or overdue, and that helps us kind of keep the most important things getting done in advance. I can add attachments. So, for example, do I have a good example of that? I don't, I've already archived it. For like the Understanding Islam conference, they gave me a flyer, a PDF flyer, and I wanted Daryl to make a banner. And they're different scales and shapes and stuff. And so I attached the flyer that I had to the job, and then I attached another banner that's the right shape, so that I explained to him when I wrote him that I want him to take that artwork and put it in this shape, and then he understood. And when he's done, he uploads the example so I can check it right here in Trello rather than having to go into our Dropbox. So Trello, all of that to say, Trello is how we're going to stay organized. And how does that look in different areas? For example, in the photography team, I might need certain people, pictures of people. For example, I needed Pastor Earl and Pastor Lori speaking, but I got those already. I needed Mililani hugs and connecting, and Jody took that on. So she's going to get those pictures from all these. Now, you can either sign up for these by attaching your own name to them. So if I go to members and attach myself, I'm basically assigning myself to it. Or I can say, this is a job for Maddie. She would love to do this. And Maddie, you haven't signed up for this yet, yeah? Let me see. Is C, is that you, Carl? Are you C? Oh, no, that's Kozo Pomai. Oh, Darcy did. Darcy signed up, so I'm going to use Darcy. This is a perfect job for Darcy. So if I click it, then I've assigned Darcy to this job, And now when it moves, I think she'll get notifications about that project. And so, she'll know that I'm kind of intending for her to work on it. If she uploads her picture, then I'll have a picture instead of a D, just a hit. So that's another feature of these cards. So yeah, so I might need certain kinds of pictures, or I need certain wide shots, or I'm looking for somebody to cover a certain event, and so I might drop that into the photography team.
But you have to subscribe to each column.
What's gonna happen is I'm gonna send you an invitation to join. Joining is free. Everything about this is free, which is cool. When you join, then I will put you on the teams for the where you want it to be. So if you're, if you want to be part of the design team or the photography team or multiple teams, then I'll add you to those teams, and you'll get those emails for that. Like here's something I haven't done yet. All those stores that are on our website, I want to be able to pay with PayPal, but I need to set up a PayPal account, so I haven't done that yet. But I did do here's a good example of that. Oh no, this is different. I needed to create an Understanding Islam registration page, so that got done. Notice I never checked it off. So I'm going to be creating an online video teaching on how to use Trello. Similar to kind of what I just did with you guys, but probably a little bit more thorough, a little less rushed, a little bit more complete. And I wanted to show you where you guys can find that kind of stuff. All the other websites, Wahiwa, Mililani, Haleiwa, they have sermons. Spark doesn't have sermons. If you want a sermon, go to the other sites. We got links to them right there.
Yep.
So for us, we have training. Okay, so underneath training, I've just begun doing this, so there's not a lot of examples. But underneath training, we're going to create these training resources. And so I made like a little screencast. So this is just like the sermons and the other ones. But let's say I had a question that I was getting a lot of, how to upload to Flickr on a computer. I certainly didn't do one for how to upload on a mobile device. If you click this picture of a clapboard, like a movie, then you'll get my movie example of this.
How do you do that? How do you get pictures from your camera and make it available for the entire church and web teams and the social media teams to all see? So we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. But wanted to let you know that this is the first of a series of training videos that we're going to be trying to do on a regular basis. I'm going to maybe even at the beginning try to do one a day, just to kind of get a sense of it.
But I do need to do them more often.
Before we kind of get into all that, if you'd like more information or you wanted to just chat about it, then there should be a comment link on this post that you can leave your comments and questions. I'll do my best to answer those. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. You're going to go to flickr.com, and if you don't know exactly what site to go to, here's a little hint. Every website has at the top of it, every one of our websites, for example, NHCO, has a little icon at the top of it that looks like two dots. That's called Flickr. You see it here? And when you go to that site, then you'll be going to the Haleiwa Flickr site, and you can log in.
Okay, so you get the point. So I'm going to be making a lot of these. My goal is to teach everything once and teach it well. Yeah, and so, like for example, Pastor Earl was asking me, hey, Rich, how do you move pictures from one album to the NHCO lobby one? He's trying to put pictures on the lobby one. And then I never got to teach him. So I said, well, there's a simple one. I'll just do it once for everybody, give Pastor Earl the link, but now anybody who wants to learn how to do that can get that as well. And it's going to be, everything from even like how to join New Hope Spark, which this has already gotten dated because I changed a lot of things today. So I'm probably going to do another one. But this video is here on basically what I'm covering with you right now. These are basically called screencasts.
Hey everybody, this is Rich, and I am starting this video to welcome you to New Hope Spark. You've clicked on this video because you have either want more information about joining New Hope Spark, or perhaps you've seen the video and it resonated with you and there's something that stirs within you that you want to be a part of this ministry. Whatever it is, I'm really glad you've joined us and that you've gone to the trouble of going ahead and clicking on this. And let me kind of give you an overview of what the process of becoming involved looks like.
So it's close, but it's not quite the same. And then each one of these too has a place for discussion. So if you wanted to add a question or comment about that training, then you can post it, I can answer those. And then, as we do more of these, we're gonna, let me go back to the training one. There's gonna be the topics. And so, right, there's not enough to really demonstrate this, but in essence, there's gonna be certain core ones that are all gonna be part of New Hope Spark Bootcamp. So it's gonna be like how to use Trello, you know, thank you for joining New Hope Spark, what's our mission, or I might have an update or something like that. So when you click on that, you will only get those messages. And then, so what I'm gonna have is each ministry team will have their own tag. So if you want to see all the photography ones, you click on photography, you will only be seeing, I gotta change that from sermons to training. The training tagged photography. Right now there's only one, but as I build this library up, you'll be able to see all of the training based on topics. And so that's a little bit of where we're going with training. And the idea is that I'll be able to kind of show everybody how to do things. I'm a very visual learner, and I know I've learned that a lot of other people are too, especially when it comes to the computer thing. So a lot of times it's easy to show how to do something. So the other side of that is, what if you want to know how to do something and I haven't answered it? You know, it's not on one of the videos. So there's this button here that I want you guys to use for anything that's Ask Rich. Okay, it's right here on the end of the New Hope Spark website. If you click on Ask Rich, you're gonna have a place that you can ask your question, and I'm basically looking for ideas for making more videos, training videos. So I thought this was kind of fun. I was in a silly mood when I wrote it. Hey, you wanna know something? Got a burning question you're dying to ask? Is it technological, theological? Submit it here and let Pastor Rich scratch your itch. I'm looking for questions that can become training videos, interviews, or frequently asked questions on our webpage. Ask away. Transition from wondering to knowing, and then tell your friends. So just put your name, your email address, what your question is. If it's a private question that you don't want me to use for videos, then you can just click on that and say, you have something you just want me to know about, that's fine. You can click on that and I'll answer it. And when you hit submit, I will get that only. Nobody else gets that. And so please use that feature because it's all built and just ready to use. Okay, I've gotten a little sidetracked. What was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, next steps. Okay, so we talked about, how's everybody doing? What time is it? Getting close to 8. Okay. Let's go just a little bit more and then we'll take a break. Back to joining the team. So we got on that track when we started talking about signing up for Trello and receiving your team's assignments. And so now you understand what that means a little bit more. That you go to Trello, you'll see what things need to be done, you'll own something, get it done. Or if you need help, you can write your question. There's a comment field, and when you write questions on that, that goes to me and anybody else that's assigned to that card. And so you can discuss with, let's say it's a project that needs multiple people, and so you're all kind of been assigned to that card. You're basically starting a little discussion group that you can answer things on. And then at the very end, I would ask you to follow New Hope Sparks on social media, especially on Twitter for updates, because a lot of times I'll just push out quick little notices on Twitter saying, hey, we've got a meeting tonight, don't forget. Or cool opportunity if somebody wants to get this free resource, it's going to be available for 24 hours only. I push it out on Twitter. But up here, it's kind of funny. The joining part is we do the assessment, the spiritual gift assessment. You fill out the New Hope Spark questionnaire, and then we ask you to make a commitment, and then you get an assignment to your team, and then we invest in you in training. This training could also be these other things here too. And then deployment is you actually start working in your area. So it's like, I was laughing because it was like mint. Obviously you were meant for this ministry. So, sorry, I'm setting that up for a pretty long joke. The learning part was, I'm going to ask you guys to commit to watching all the Spark Bootcamp videos right now. If you do it right now, then you only have to watch one. Because there'll be more coming later. Learn how to use Trello.com. We have a resource called Lynda.com. Lynda.com, I know Manny knows about it, you know about it. I don't know if anybody else does, but it is a fantastic technical learning resource. It has 10,000 or more video courses on everything from Photoshop, editing, web design, how to code, how to take good pictures, how to ask good questions. It even has like time management. I mean, it is very, very deep training. And once you've reached this point where you're committed to the ministry, then I'd like to share that access with you guys so that you can learn the area that you're going to be learning, whether it's photography or web or whatever you might be interested in. And then there's a lot of really good normal books, PDF books, and audio books that I'm using to kind of keep myself sharp. And I keep finding myself wishing like, oh, I wish I could share that with the team. And so we might be making an official book list that if you wanted to know more or sharpen your skills, that this would be resources for you. One of them that I've really been liking lately, you all probably have heard of a classic book written in the 30s called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And the principles in that book still hold up today, but they came out with one called How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age. And it's authorized by the Dale Carnegie Foundation, and it helps you bridge that gap between how, the principles that they wrote about, people love to hear the sound of their name and asking questions and being a good listener. How do you do those through the medium of technology, if you're doing it on texting or emailing or trying to make a connection with somebody through a medium like this? How do those principles translate? It's a really good book, and I was thinking, I'm half thinking like, oh, maybe I'll make this like mandatory reading for everybody because it's that good, but I haven't quite landed on that yet because I know some people aren't all excited about a lot of homework. But we might have resources for those of you who might be interested in that. We might have a book list that we'd recommend you guys learning as well. And then the last one is serving team meetings, projects that your team is working on, and committing to 1 to 2 hours a week. So with that, let's just take a quick break. Let you guys have a chance to drink water, go to the bathroom and whatnot, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes. And what I'd like to kind of do at that point is let's see what teams you guys might be on. Let's kind of get that process started. Carl, we're going to let that feed kind of just continue on through DeadSpace because I don't want to divide it up into 2 clips.
Okay.
But let's see what team that you might be on, and then let's kind of get you starting to get through some of those steps on integration. And then we'll talk about the calendar as well and how to check the calendar for upcoming things that might be happening to your project or for your team. Let's take a break. So come back in 5. Can I show it? Fine, and we'll show the lens retreat.
Oh, here's my keys. I get a drink.
Yeah,
I
let's show
get a
it.
drink for it.
You got it, yeah.
This was long. It was
For
like,
the-
it is long
Yeah.
for one announcement.
It's so
Right.
cool.
That's it. When I made it, it got all scratched up, so I just started making it.
You got the right idea. Always bring your toys to this meeting, whether it's computers or.
I was trying to make a dome for mine, but then it got all scratched up in the front before I could even use it.
Ah, shucks.
I was gonna say, you might need to edit the sound on this.
Oh, it's just
Oh,
like your
because it's
house,
coming
right?
from here.
Yeah.
You're right.
Might be
No, because
this.
I don't know what's wrong with the system.
We'll hope. There's something we can do about it.
Earlier in the week.
Let's hope the
Yeah.
equalizer on that
I know, I
thing
just
of
said my
the
dad-
I don't know why it wasn't working on the iPad, but I'd never done it on the iPad before.
Okay.
I've done it on my phone before, and I figured, I downloaded it and I figured it was all operating the same up until you hit start,
At all.
and that part
And
didn't.
then, I guess, it went back on, like somehow.
Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking,
Cause I was kinda
you know,
irritated.
most
Yeah, I was
people
kinda
that
irritated
don't
because I couldn't put my
instruction
Xbox with
Yeah.
me. I really wanted
sometimes
to
have
play.
a green
So they're like-
background.
I was like, yeah, my dad's
Or
Wi-Fi thing. I don't know
Yeah.
about that. My dad knows
Clear
about
background
that.
so they can show more of the
But
picture.
anything else.
Oh, they key themselves over
Yeah.
there.
So I just like pressed the restart button
Yeah,
so I could
I'll probably
restart a
do
little
that.
bit, and then like.
Darcy, have you
it
seen
seemed
that
to
before?
work Right after.
Okay.
Oh.
And then, but then after that, then I guess that happened to the system. Like the system was shut down.
Huh.
But they told us like to unplug the system. You
Yeah.
know, the plug outside.
And that's running on
No, but
fine
then-
now.
The amplifier.
No, that's
No,
on
but
After
I unplugged it in my
Effects.
sister's phone
Primarily
because I was
After
trying to hook up her
Effects,
TV. And my dad says like that's for the cable stuff, and I didn't
Yeah.
know. So then
Yeah.
like alright, so then that restarted that one time, but then when he did that
You
one.
know what that is that's me
restarted.
underneath a blanket in front of my computer shooting using the webcam, which actually was the perfect.
A lot of people see
And
that.
like how they use,
Yeah,
and they
plug
use
it.
the eyes.
They don't realize what it is.
Yeah.
I actually
They forget to
I
plug it
did
back
a
in,
hotspot on my
and then they call it a
nose,
choke
If
off.
you use the eyes,
And
if
when
you
they plug
let,
it in,
they will move.
But when we
Oh,
show
yeah.
up, they're like, "Oh, everything working." Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah, if you
'cause,
watch,
my
it
dad
moves exactly where my
knew
nose
Yeah.
they
is. Every
started
time my
it
nose
up, I
moves,
didn't
the
know
eyes
Yeah.
on.
Because my sister's like, oh, I'm
I was
sure
worried the
people,
eyes
yeah,
would
it
be too
doesn't
much
work,
for the
like,
thing,
because I didn't use it for a long time, so like,
Around a lot.
sometimes it just blinks the light off and on, it doesn't even work.
Oh, the TV.
Yeah, so then like, I just put it in her room so I could get rid of space.
But
Yeah.
you can
But it-
modify the.
When it was plugged in
The
though, like, I
things
didn't know
on
that
there.
at all, and then my dad came on,
I noticed
I
that
could have, it just would have
You
been a
knew
lot
what-
more work than I wanted to get into.
put it through your.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You see a little logo.
No, but it, like,
That's me.
Because
I'm
like my
always
dad,
into
when he was
detail.
Yeah.
like, when the stuff all shut off though, like so like
Everything
system,
was down.
yeah, the system was down. Like we kept coming home and thinking that my dad
So
never set it.
you know that welcome screen.
He's the house last and I just forgets to set it.
Yeah.
For
So
the
my grandma came home one day and she's like,
Uh,
Tiffany, you
what
didn't
do you
set
ask
the
me?
lock again.
the welcome screen.
Auntie, the stuff is
Well,
broken, it
to-
doesn't run.
The welcome.
Oh yeah.
welcome screen?
So like,
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember.
but that
what
one
you
time
said.
when
Yeah,
it went
nice.
off,
I thought it was
I
really
think
nice.
it's loud.
Yeah.
Our
Because
our
I
Also
see
our-
something
yeah.
with the new logo.
No, because like, my sister
Yeah,
typed in
definitely
my
like
code,
using it
Oh.
wherever we can.
and then my friend was with us because he was taking us because his parents were up in
Oh.
Tahoe, not Tahoe, but
They were out of state
Yeah.
vacationing.
no, they're in California, but we were gonna go in like in a week or so, but they went up to see friends. But then like he was staying with us and he's like, "What's that noise?" And we walk into the house, oh, it's loud. Like, but like, I'm like just put him on the ground and it's irritating because it's going off for like almost an hour.
No, nobody. Oh, because
Yeah,
nobody
because my grandma was
home.
calling and then like no, bro, my grandma came home like same time, but then like she was trying to call and then like stuff keep going off so they couldn't even hear her.
Yeah.
It was
It's
really
like
loud.
just like unplug it and put it underneath a pillow.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Just until the thing stops.
I
Yeah.
grabbed it and I was gonna throw it on the ground and my grandma was like, "Don't do that! I'm gonna hit you with it." Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Drive you nuts though.
Yeah.
But that's what a
Yeah.
burglar would do
Yeah.
if they were in your house. They would bash it.
My
damage
sister
it.
my sister like went outside to feed the dog and she still could hear it like from across the street. I'm like, oh, that thing is loud. It's crazy. I think we left the house to go eat and we came back and the stuff was still going off.
For real?
Yeah, because my grandma, we went to go eat and my grandma was still working on it and we never ate because we don't want to eat in the house. Right off the time.
Yeah.
So then we went to go
Why?
eat and we came back and,
The police never come.
no, because my grandma, she's part of the police department. So then she just called her right away because she's part of the records. So like as soon as that went off, she called, oh, that's the first one coming from our street. Because like she's like straight contact, I guess, for her. Because my grandpa used to be a
That's right.
Yeah, but
I saw his picture.
yeah, but he passed away because he had
Yeah.
diabetes. But still, I think he was a cop even when he did have diabetes.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. He was different from my grandma. My grandma was different since he left.
Yeah.
Since he passed away. But then,
So wait, he
my
made
cousin,
this?
she wants to be like my grandma. So then she's like, oh, can I go to work with you? And she was trying to get a job and she's like, not even graduated yet. I go to school for that stuff. Like, you're not gonna.
Your grandma's still working over there?
Yeah, because we're gonna move up pretty soon actually.
Yeah, he was telling me you guys might move ever, yeah?
Yeah. Because the friend that was with me, his family,
Yeah.
they live in Kalihi because that's his grandpa's old house. And then we went to so they live in Kalihi, so but then they have a house in Ava.
Yeah.
And like-
Oh,
But
that's
when-
the same family.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
but
family.
they're like family too, so they always like helping us out and everything. And they're like, oh, we'll just let you guys go through for you. But it's
Yeah.
I don't
It's
think
pretty cheap though. Good deal.
That's what happens when you walk away from the computer. Sorry,
Minecraft. What is this?
I don't know, I guess, it was whatever came up after my video
Oh,
was done.
the next video.
Oh, Iron Man, it was related to Iron Man.
So what can you...
You guys wanna see what this other ministry I follow? I kinda watch what they do, because they do all these really cool.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the
That
one.
one's really good.
Refresh
Oh,
Ministries?
Refresh
that's
Ministries.
right.
So, they do some really cool stuff.
Local?
Yeah, definitely local. And they do do a lot of this stuff. I don't know, I've shown this other one before, so I just figured I'd try to
That's Chan, Sermon Jam.
find it. This is just motion graphics.
I remember the devotion
Oh,
of
this
you.
one.
How as a bride you loved me, followed me through the desert, through a land not found. Remember, this is God speaking. And sometimes we think of God as like this machine up there, this, with no feeling.
That's Professor Chan,
He
right?
just controls everything. But listen to the words he uses. God is speaking to this nation, and he says, I remember how devoted you were to me. But then he says in verse 5, what fault did your fathers find in me that they strayed so far from me? Doesn't that sound like so many of our lives? Where we were so connected with God, God made things so wonderful, and then we run away towards something else. Nothing else pleases us. God's left the room. What about you?
Yeah, sure.
My people have committed two sins. They've forsaken me, the spring of living water, and they've dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. The people committed two sins. One was they chose their sin. But I think what really broke the heart of God was that they chose their sin over him. God's going, wait a second. So you left me, the spring of living water, to go do your own thing? Because you thought maybe you could dig a hole big enough and then fill it up with water so this would be a better supply? He goes, and it's a broken cistern. It doesn't even hold water. That's what temptation is. Things that draw us away from him, things that we choose to love relationship. And it's not that you don't love God. You love God, right? I mean, you love God in your heart, but every once in a while there's this reality of there's this real pull from inside of you towards something that God prohibits. And you're feeling it so bad, and you're going, what is wrong with me? I know I love God. Why do I feel this way?
Where are you going?
Not to go there?
To the south.
We know it's not
I
going to
think
go.
because I have to
We know
work
we can't be
Sunday.
happy outside of God.
Saturday?
No, Sunday. No, Sunday morning for the youth.
Oh, no.
I might go because I'm videotape, but I gotta work in the afternoon for the school.
Rich, is that a program that does that?
It's called After Effects, most likely, is what they're using.
Set your mind.
And it's really
on
not
things
that
above,
difficult.
not
Anybody
on
here can learn how to do
things.
this.
It's the idea of a person being so
I see
focused
something
on
like
this
that,
love relationship,
but it was
you don't
like
even know
Pastor
anything
sermon,
else.
but he made the
You
whole
know
thing
what
out
else
of
is going on in the
Jesus'
room?
face.
Oh,
You're
yeah, I've
so
seen that.
Yeah.
focused on Jesus, so in love and so thinking about eternal things. That's the idea. We have to run toward Jesus, the author and perfecter. We have to fix our eyes on him so that all these things are dangling in
Listening to
front
an
of us.
audio a lot more interesting, because then it turns it into a video.
Yeah.
Why you
Even though it wasn't a
should
video.
walk away from whatever temptation you're facing.
It's very creative use of text. It's called typography.
God is better.
That's what the kind uses. People who graffiti, that's what they do. Something like that. They use the words
Yeah,
to make
a
the
lot of my
object.
friends in class did it.
Yeah.
Just full around writing stuff in their paper.
I think that's where it came from.
Yeah, there's somebody over there that does really cool stuff. And then this just came out too. Ben Geis. You know who he is?
Isn't that, heard it before, but. He's local too?
Yeah, he's a local guy too.
What is it? And
Oh, this is last year.
the Inspire stuff, yeah.
I have experienced the greatness of God
Same,
through the HIM conferences. Every year, we always end up bringing more people with us, and we saw them grow and mature, and it was an unbelievable, the greatness of God in their life afterwards.
The conference always gives me new vision that's far greater than what I've imagined or thought about. I learn greater ways to do relationships. I can
That's so
become a
creative,
better
the way he
husband, a better father, a
combines
better
images
pastor.
and moves them around.
And it just ultimately always brings me back to the greatness of God.
God is certainly greater than my insecurities, because I got to be an angel last year at the HIM conference. And I didn't think I'd be able to do anything. It was so amazing how God was able to just take me and use me, and it was so amazing.
So after I returned from college, I attended HIM, and I realized after the workshops and all the speakers that God has something greater for me. That He wanted me not to go into what I thought I was going to be going into, but into full-time ministry. And that's what I'm doing today. And I'm really excited because that was really a key moment in my life.
Notice part of what makes this so powerful is the audio. A lot of people forget the audio when they think about video ministry.
And this conference reminds me that God is greater than one church, one denomination, one stream, one movement. That God is for and works through everyone.
Recognize them?
Yeah.
It was a great, great organization. The conference is really good, so I would recommend you guys check it out if you have never been to a HIM conference before. Who's ever gone? No one here has ever gone to a HIM conference?
I
Wow.
think I might have with my family.
Yeah?
Was there one at the Blaisdell? Or was
It's
that
almost always actually at the convention center. Boy, if it's a
I
Blaisdell.
think you went with the youth.
Is that similar to
Oh,
DCAT?
I've been
That's
to
New Hope's version of-
Son of Thunder or whatever.
No, not quite. DCAT is all about how to do church. This is bigger. This is more, has all kinds of like speakers from the mainland and work.
That's when you guys
workshops
slept
and
at the hotel.
getting work from
Huh?
personal
That's the
growth
one
to
that you slept at the
ministry to
hotel?
church to leadership.
Oh, no.
Oh, you didn't go with them?
tracks.
I remember, I think I went to a grade one, but
I'm a-
I think it was,
I'm an introducer.
it was the one
Here's
where
the
we
thing,
could,
if you
it was like
volunteer,
Christmas, I think,
You
last year.
get to go for free. And so I volunteer to introduce, I have to introduce, each session I have to introduce one speaker. Takes about 10 minutes at the beginning. And then once they're introduced and they've gotten off to a smooth start, I am free to go to whatever workshop I want to go to. And so the trade-off is I have to be willing to stand in front of a large group of people who I have no idea who they are and talk about a person who I don't know who they are and make it sound compelling. But that's a skill that you can learn. But by doing that, then I get to go for free. Emily works in the logo shop, so she gets to go. So, you know, they're always looking for, it's a really big conference, so they're always looking for volunteers. I didn't mean to plug that though, that just happened. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our teams here. One of the things, you know, I've been doing a lot of the talking tonight. Let's kind of flip the coin here a little bit and have you guys do some of the talking. And maybe what I'd like to hear is, what do you guys think some of the teams that you are interested in being a part of might be? And so, who wants to break the ice enough? Yeah, what teams do, of the teams that, we have, let me give you a list, because I actually need a list. Yeah. And then do you guys maybe identify a team that we should have that we don't, too? Here's the current team structure. Now Daryl's kind of doing design, and
That's graphic design.
that's graphic design,
Okay.
so it's a lot of photoshopping,
Yeah.
and it's all about pixels and stuff. Now, that doesn't mean he's the only one that has to do it, you know, I'm saying it's led by him, but right now, yeah, it's just Daryl, in that regard. And then Dawn has been doing admin, so Dawn's keeping us organized. She takes all of the responses from the surveys, puts them into a database, gets them posted where we can access them, and so we have a spot here. You can contact Dawn, we just tested it, it worked.
Shout out.
Yeah, so it all works. And so a lot of these other guys though are looking for leadership. I'm gonna be doing the video team just because that's my
Now,
part.
I know some people do video and there's a separate from video editing. Is that the same department?
Right now, it is gonna be wrapped into the same one, but I'll probably subdivide that
Okay.
out internal to that team, is that there's gonna be post-production and
Yeah.
production people, because they're very different skills.
Yeah.
Where do you think that'll be one that you're interested in?
Yeah.
Both sides, or,
Both, because I like to work with both to get the shot and then edit it,
okay,
kind of thing.
okay, cool, we need you to go through the rest of the process
Yeah.
with us, so, and we'll get you on that team. Do you think you might be interested in signing up for the Transformation Academy class?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I do.
cool, that'll be a lot of fun. We're gonna have all the gear. I was toying with bringing all the gear here for show and tell, but honestly, it's a lot of gear. And I had some other things to do too across, so I decided, I'll just save that for the video guys. Anybody else? I bet you're interested in video.
Yeah, and also video editing.
Video editing too? Cool. Cause I know you shot all that GoPro footage for us
Yeah.
at the Give Thanks. Did you like seeing it? You got
Yeah.
to see it on the air, right? Or I say on the air, but
Yeah.
on the screen, right? Yeah. Cool. Kennison, how about you? What's your interest like?
I didn't quite finish all of the
Uh-huh.
questionnaires and stuff like that, and I missed that meeting, that last meeting.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I would kind of lean towards video, both sides, but I'd also like to, you know, learn. I really am a social media. Yeah, I don't know anything about social media.
Okay, so you'd like to learn more about that area?
So, yeah.
Okay. You know how we're probably gonna do the social media thing too? When I talked about being organized with it, is there's gonna be certain things that we're gonna know in advance that we're going to want to have out on social media. And so, you know, and you all probably have, you know, many of you will have your own social media accounts and whatnot. And so it can get a little cumbersome logging in, logging out as to like who am I at the moment. So, you know, so there's this program called Hootsuite. And let's see.
Just use the free account.
Yeah, and right now I've signed us up for the free one, but once we kind of get the team rolling, I'm gonna pay for it. What Hootsuite does, it's sort of like one service that you, do you have an example of a video, like what they do? Not really.
You can post, pre-set up your posts, so you're not, you put it on a schedule. So it looks like you're always posting, but you actually did it in advance, and then it goes on a timely basis. And you could just use that one program to do Twitter, Facebook,
Instagram.
It does it all. And that's it.
Yep, so let's say we have a sermon series, right? So we wanna know, like, the day before the sermon series, we want everybody to know, you know, what's gonna be up. So we would just go through the schedule and say, okay, this is gonna launch on January 11th, this will launch on January 16th, this will launch on January, and get that all built in. And once it's all, you know, built in, then like right afterwards, we'll probably have something about, hey, in case you missed it, watch it online. So we'll have posts, that all scheduled. And then maybe right at 8:55 before we go live at Haleiwa, maybe we want the Haleiwa folks to say, hey, watch us, you know, we're going live, come watch us right now. And then maybe we have, you know, an event coming up, let's say like the Islam conference, and so we'll promote up to that. And you build that all into the system, all in advance when you're in the mood to work on it, and you get it all on a schedule, and then you just sort of like launch, just, you know, release it, and then all those things fire off. And it'll even be so smart as to say, I want to promote this event 5 times in the next 5 days at my optimum time. It'll actually analyze the traffic patterns and say, you know what, you have the most hits at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but at 5 p.m. on Wednesdays and Fridays. So we'll send your tweets at those times automatically. So you don't even have to know that, it'll just figure that stuff out. So the nice thing with that is you have one app that you have to learn that'll do all of your social media postings rather than hopping back and forth between your personal accounts and all these other little apps. And so Hootsuite's the way we're going to approach that.
Is that the one that also work on web pages too? Like it reposts, like it knows that that website can post from that account?
I'm not quite understanding the question. It'll what?
Like it will update, like you know how like WordPress it will have that.
WordPress, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, So that's true. We can also, within WordPress, which is our own websites, whenever we post a, let's say a blog entry or an
Yeah.
announcement or something like that, we can set the publicized to on, and it'll automatically blast that out to everybody
Yeah.
saying, hey, this post just went live, come check out the latest announcement. So yeah, if
But-
Hootsuite doesn't do that, that'll come right out of WordPress
Okay.
itself, but it'll still be matching that. But part of the thing with the social media team that we're looking for, I think, is it's not just going to be like us one-way announcing
Blasting,
things. Yeah. What has to happen is you sort of have to engage, like so whenever, hey, Daryl's here. Everybody say hi, Daryl.
Hey, Daryl.
He's coming straight from the basketball game. Thank you so much. So we're talking about the different teams that we're involved with. So Daryl's been involved with our design team. But back to social media, we want the social media to truly be social, not just be an announcement thing, but to be something like, hey, like for example, when I get a post that says, hey, so-and-so just followed you, then it'd be really cool to have sort of a custom, hey, thanks for the follow. Now what I've learned since then is you kind of have to look who it is. You know, if it's a Christian software maker out of North Carolina, yeah, it probably doesn't need to be replied to personally. But if it's anybody in Hawaii, we definitely would want that. You know, but I'm getting a lot of these sort of like, hey, ChristianLeadership.com, from New Orleans just followed New Hope Haleiwa. It's like, okay, thank you. I'm not going to delete it, but it's not going to be somebody who's going to be coming to our church most likely. But the idea is that when they post things, you reply to them and say, hey, that was a really cool post, or an awesome photo, or whatnot. And you start to kind of develop that relationship with people. And the idea is putting that spotlight on helping people connect to us, to our church, to the website, and starting that that relationship, so that hopefully they'll come to the website, and then we'll start having testimonies posted. So we'll start seeing God moving, God changing people's lives, and kind of seeing what He's working and what He's doing in our community, and whether it's virtually or in person, coming to be a part of that community. So Kenny, back to you. So you think maybe video and maybe social media you might be interested in.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. Someone else?
I'm leaning towards
Yeah.
social media.
Social media?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That works too. You have a team member right there in the house, always available to you. She does our Instagram for Haleiwa.
Yeah. And I've worked with Hootsuite before on a beginner level, so familiar.
Yeah.
So,
You may just have your name written down as the social media team leader.
Sure.
Okay. We'll make that happen. Darcy, how about you? I know you were interested in photos. Are you still interested in photography? What I will often do is I'll pull a lot of the new photos and I'll put them into that gallery. Oh, I should have. So,
That's nice shots.
I ended up password no line, whatever. What I'll a lot of times do is I'll go through and I'll kind of pull out the best pictures. Just put them into these galleries that people can enjoy. You know who takes a lot of pictures is Wahiwa. Yeah, lately. That didn't used to be the case. Actually, I think it happened all the time, but it was just would go out on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get to them. I can't get to the Instagram pictures. But now that they're being posted,
Yeah.
like here's their look at that shot. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
That's all I'll do is, yeah.
Take it on a lead.
This is all pictures from their Christmas Eve service. Thank you for here. This was their gift thanks.
They did it on purpose so it'd be faster to upload.
Yeah.
Who's Steph B?
Steph B is our friend.
Yeah, she.
Steph Barber.
Oh yeah. She's provided all those photos.
Yeah, she takes awesome photos.
You can tell it has all nice real shallow depth of field.
Yeah, she's really talented.
But then this shot was amazing. This rainbow here.
Wow.
I thought you could totally put New Hope Wahiwa right there. You know,
Yeah.
there's your splash screen for a website or something. And I thought this was kinda cool. Whose idea was that?
Auntie Lisa's.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just like a giant group photo.
Yeah.
So I ended up using that on the front page.
Wide lens,
Yeah. Cause I ended up putting it up there.
that's cool.
So I thought, hey, welcome to New Hope Wide One.
That was pretty cool.
And then you notice how Daryl got all these buttons, each one campus specific and whatnot. Yeah, I was singing your praises earlier, Daryl. All the work that you did to put all the artwork into all these and make them shine. And, you know, I can see when he's working on it, he's working late at night, you know, he's posting things at 1 a.m. sometimes, you know. And so I really appreciate that. Because that was really critical to me, because the ramp up to this was really intense. You know, we were trying to get them all out before Christmas, and that's why I know we had that meeting in November, and then we didn't have like any meetings for like a month and a half, 2 months. And it was just because all I could work on was the website, you know, and trying to get it out. And so now that it's launched and the new year is settled down, it's like, okay, let's get organized team-wise again. So. Mandy, how about you?
I'm interested in the video editing drawing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I would recommend that the Transformation Academy classes. We're really going to get into video editing on that. You've already been taking great pictures. You got a camera, right, for Christmas?
Yeah.
Sweet, so we'll put it to use. Don, how about you? And you content and admin, or is there more that you want to do?
Of course admin, but I always wanted to play with Photoshop.
Oh,
How the program works.
yeah. Step one, lynda.com, and learn some basics of Photoshop. And what we'll do, we'll get you connected with Daryl, and Daryl maybe will sign you some basic stuff at first, you know? Just say, hey, change the resolution of this, you know? And we'll do that. Okay, cool. Daryl, how about you and the design team? Do you need more help? Are you happy there? Is there more that you want to do? I don't know why I'm tracing the circles around this, I just am.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The pace is pretty good.
The what?
The pace is pretty good.
The pace?
So far, yeah.
How have you, now Daryl's the one who I've probably worked most with Trello, and I went through and kind of explained to everybody how Trello works and you know, what the different columns are, and that's how we're gonna stay organized and work together as a team. What's your perspective on that? Because you had never used it before, right?
Yeah. So when you first mentioned we're gonna use this new tool that I never heard of, I was like, oh, I gotta learn something new. Because I guess I'm used to like using things like Google Drive and all the Google products, and but once we started using it, it was like I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was really cool
Yeah,
too.
because I mean you can see, you know, what each other's doing, right? And
Remember the very first time that we did that? It's like you wrote a comment, and I was like, ooh, I got an email. It's you know, from Daryl through Trello. I was like, oh, I didn't know it did that. And so then I replied to the email, and it went into the Trello system and showed up as a comment. And we were like, cool. But I was telling everybody that, you know, when you subscribe to the certain boards, then you know when a project moves status. You know if I've put something into to do, or I know when you're working on something or when it's done, and that's invaluable for me. I'll be at like another meeting, or I'll be at dinner with my family, get a little notice like, oh, Daryl's working on a website.
something that I put it into working on something, and then I get sidetracked, and then for like the whole week it's in working on it. Forget to put it back, you know.
Well, I'm sure if we dive through here, we'd find lots of those too. It's easy to overlook it when you know no one else yet is really looking at it yet. But I don't know if you've seen this, because when you are on, you only see design board, or do you see all Spark?
I see quite a bit of both. I'm not sure.
Okay, cool. I don't know if it was limited or whatnot. So, because I'm learning how to use this too. But yeah, Daryl and I've had a lot of success with Trello.
So if someone's working on something, can you also work on it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
well, you could, but I mean, you could think
Daryl and Rodney working on this.
right, like because
On
like
the same project or something. I don't
you know, if you let's say have Daryl organize a Photoshop team and teach how to use Trello. Okay, so let's say I'm going to work on that. So if, you know, like, you can see here that my intent there was Daryl, so I might take, I'll assign Daryl to the project, so now he's a part of that project. But then, let's say somebody else, wants to be a part of that too, and they can assign themselves, then yeah,
And
technically
jump
you would
on.
both be
Oh.
on that at the same
Cool.
time. Now, at that point, you guys would need to coordinate a little bit, so that you
Yeah.
guys aren't working on the same file at the same time, or overwriting each other's files or things like that. But yeah, there's no reason why, let's say this was more complicated, like, instead of a simple one like that, let's say it was more like, organize a system for, you know, automatically downloading Flickr pictures to galleries on websites, something big and kind of monstrous. That might be more like a committee thing, and so maybe we would add 3 or 4 people to that as a project, and they would work on that project together. But in general, this is gonna work better on a, there's a, on a what's the next step kind of a basis. You know, having something big and scary like that can always be broken down into bite-sized pieces, and this works best with the bite-sized pieces. That's gonna be true for, that's just a general principle for getting things done. There's a book called Getting Things Done that basically says, what's the next step that has to happen for this to advance? And you divide everything down to that level, so that you don't have to worry about solving world peace.
Right.
You just have to make a phone call to Israel and see if they're available on Friday to talk about world peace. I don't know why I went with that description, but I did. The idea is that how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? You gotta divide it down into its individual bite sizes. So back on other ministry or ministry interests, how are you, Daryl, with the design? Did you want to expand in other areas? Or is that just right for you? Good fit?
It's good. I don't mind bringing my camera to service.
Oh, that's right. We
Taking
talked about
some
photography,
shots.
right? Can I start that this Sunday, perhaps?
Yeah, sure. I took some on New Year or 27.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So.
Did you upload them?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. Now see, I have no idea when people like log on and use our log on to upload the Flickr, they all look like they're from the same person. And so that's why I'm asking you guys to tag, you know, P equals Daryl, so I know, oh, Daryl, you know, uploaded these pictures or whatnot, so.
Yeah, I haven't met our photographers yet. So.